I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Ms. Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Should I believe him or my lying ears that he has never taken a polygraph before? Didn't he tell us that?
That's what he said. He told you that.
Okay. Dave Mack, crimeonline.com investigative reporter, did he not tell another outlet he had already taken a polygraph and passed it?
Yep, he sure did. Exact words.
Explain,
he said somebody
please.
asked. He did interviews. He did a number of interviews, Nancy, when and in this one particular, asked about, have you taken a polygraph? He said, somebody asked the question, this is a direct quote, was a polygraph taken and has it been passed? Yes. I didn't specify who or when, but what I can tell you, everything has been vetted completely. Polygraphs have come back as passed, so I'm confused as in why they're all wondering if myself, my wife, and the biological father took one. Exact words. That's what he said.
Yeah. Also, at the same time, I was also offered a polygraph from TBI to take, and I took the TBI polygraph. No disrespect to anybody else out there that's a prolificer. They don't know anything about the case. So, I mean, you can ask whatever questions you want to ask to get you a baseline or whatever, and then, you know, there's a lot of things that go into asking those questions. You just can't just randomly ask a question and expect it to be a yes or a no question.
There's also a reason that
about Nancy Grace. I mean, I would not have stood up in that show allowing somebody to address me like she did, because that was a full-on investigation. Like she interrogated you guys. That wasn't an interview.
But so look at Nancy's Grace show for what it is. You know, what is her job? Her job is not to sit there and worry about the questions that she asks me. That's not what her job is.
Yeah.
Her job is to bring in the ratings and bring in the audience.
Yep.
So however they need to do that is what they do.
Nancy Grace is the original tragedy pimp.
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
The night of Sunday night, when you said there was a noise, what type of noise do you think that was that you heard?
I'm not honestly sure. It sounded like he was messing with stuff in his room, which was not uncommon, which is why I said, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing in there, but you're supposed to go to sleep."
Okay. So you didn't check on him at that time, but did you check on him at midnight? Did you flip the light on and look to see if he was in the bed at midnight when you got up to go to bed?
No, and because I didn't have any reason to. You know, when he was little, I used to check on him all the time, but he's older now and he's 15, and y'all can figure out why a mother may not want to necessarily pop into a teenage boy's room unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Back to that night, you said you were up till midnight, you were reading something. What were you reading?
A chapter for school.
A chapter for school. Are you in school?
I was, yes ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
Business administration.
Gotcha. Where do you go to school?
DeVry.
So that night you go to bed at midnight after you've been talking to Mr. Proudfoot on the phone. You put the dogs away in a cage, a crate, inside the home, and you go to bed. Did you check on Sebastian at that time?
I did not.
Okay. Do you normally?
Not typically. Since he's gotten older, I've not been checking on him as frequently throughout the night because normally he's good to go in his room once he goes to bed.
Earlier you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there, go to bed. Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not, no.
That right there that would be an assumption, and we never saw him. We saw what he went to bed in, and that was.
Just know the last time I saw Sebastian was early February, until I came home February 26th.
Children do not vanish into thin air on their own. Someone else has to be involved. So
it's not about Seth. It's not about KK. It's not about Edgar. It's about get your ass out there and do it anyways. That's what it's about.